Hello, everyone. I'm the Real Manos, and this is my partner,
Deadpoolzilla, at your service.
Deadpoolzilla, and we are talking about, what is this, week 3 of Steven Universe summer episodes?
I believe so, and we're still relatively sane.
I know, it's incredible. Oh my god, what we've been going through with this week. Okay. We're talking about the episodes Gem Hunt, Crack the Whip, Steven vs. Amethyst, Dawn of Cookie Cat, and Bismuth. And holy crap, did things really pick up this week, didn't it?
Yeah, this was one big... Aside from Bismuth, this was one big consecutive storyline. And yeah, this week's, present week after this recording, does feel like that as well. I will also say that this has got to be, in this week alone, some of the best fights we've seen in the show.
Oh, yes, by far. Every once in a while we'd get an awesome fight, like an Ocean Gem or the Jailbreak, but, geez, we have getting... This has pretty much almost turned into a complete action show with humor lately, which is fine by me. It's so balanced and, well done, and thoughtful as well. Let's talk about, instead of just talking about our favorite episodes or whatever, let's just talk through the week. There was quite a bit going on here. And the first 3 episodes are a consecutive storyline with Gem Hunt, Crack the Whip, and Steven vs. Amethyst. And, of course, these episodes deal with what Jasper's up to, and she is trying to build an army of the corrupt gems. And a lot of this deals with her taking down Amethyst in 2 ways, not just physically during the fight, but really really cracking her morale, her self-esteem, her spirit.
She just demoralizes Amethyst.
Yes, she did. Even coming close to murdering her. If it wasn't for Stefani, within seconds she would have been dead.
Yeah.
What was your impressions of that?
My impression to not only Gem Hunt, but all of this stuff we've been seeing with Jasper. I said this a little earlier before the recording. Man, did she really remind me of Sabretooth? And her rivalry with Amethyst really does feel like, did you guys read X-Men comics before you wrote this story arc, guys?
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, these guys are influenced by everything, apparently, that was cool in the 80s and 90s. I've always kind of gotten a Sabretooth vibe off of Jasper, just because how huge she is, and her colors, and, he has blonde hair with kind of sometimes the white collar fur around his neck, so... Yeah, I've always been thinking that. And she did definitely find her Wolverine this time around in Amethyst. Also another short scrapper, now that I think about it.
Yeah, it didn't help that she was calling him her runt all the time, either.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, my God. Yeah, that really hits the nail on the head. That is kind of reminding me of that. And I gotta say, I'm really happy for Amethyst because... Since Too Far, that episode of about a month or 2 ago, I had been thinking they were going to head towards an Amethyst betrayal story arc, and that was the opposite of what we got. We'll talk about the episodes this week, next week, but that's definitely something that we definitely got to dig into who Amethyst is, and she's definitely risen to the occasion.
Yeah, she is definitely growing as a character, and a lot of people said, oh no, they did a step back in Steven vs. Amethyst of her just feeling sorry for herself. No, that's a very human thing to do. When you really screw up, sometimes you just really fall in on yourself.
Mm-hmm. And the fight between Steven vs. Amethyst was really funny, and frankly I was a little relieved because I thought it was going to be like the beginning of something really hardcore. And no, actually, it's kind of a funny, lighthearted way of the characters kind of getting over themselves. And how they're, fighting about who sucks more, which is pretty funny. And getting...
It's also... Oh, sorry.
Oh, no. And getting mad at, it's like, how long have you been able to do that? Ugh!
Yeah. But what really surprised me is that finally Steven says the one thing we've been kind of waiting for him to do is kind of say, "Look, I'm not my mom. Stop acting like I'm my mom."
Yeah.
And he says it to Amethyst first and foremost. And I feel like I feel like him saying that to Amethyst first feels like the right thing, because they both, and even Steven says this in the later episodes, is that, look, we're kind of like the oddballs out on the team. We're we're kind of the underdogs. And I feel like that's the smart thing to do. And Steven does kind of see Amethyst more as a sister, more so than Garnet or Pearl, who he feels like a parental figure.
Yeah.
With Amethyst, it's more like it's a sibling thing with her.
I've always felt that way. She is one of the mom squad, but out of the group, she's always been more the older sister. And I really enjoy how that hasn't been tearing them apart. I mean, even though it's very obvious that, she does feel a little left out, and I do think there is a little, like, kind of that younger, older sibling, maybe jealousy a little bit. Because I do have the feeling she was the baby for a good long while.
Yeah.
But, God, they just bonded so well in that episode. And, I just want to, before we get into Bismuth, I want to talk about how amazing, Gem Hunt was. I really enjoyed, first off, seeing Connie on her first mission with Pearl and Steven. And I have to say, I love the dichotomy between Pearl and Connie. They mesh so well. I don't know if that was one of those character relationships that was thought of when they first started on the show, but boy, do they work together.
Yeah, it's definitely it feels very much like a well-balanced master-student relationship, and you see that Pearl has clearly taken to Connie much as she has with Steven, and yeah, she clearly sees that Connie, despite her young age, is very capable and able to fend for herself.
Yeah, it's really interesting that she sees herself in a human character instead of a younger Gem. I think that says a lot about her as a character, and just that whole scenario with them going out in the snow. And then let's jump over to Crack the Whip, where we get to see. We have a little kind of 2-episode arc with Connie, actually, in Steven, because Connie kind of felt like a failure when they weren't able to get the gem and Jasper got away. But she definitely came into her own when they formed Stefani and took down Jasper really easily, actually, I thought.
Yeah, that was a pretty interesting fight, and it was kind of something we've always wanted to see since, Stefani first happened and Connie took her sword training.
Yeah.
I couldn't help but, just squeal in total delight to see them actually, Stefani actually in action.
This show, you ever see fan art of something, either a comic book or a film or a TV show, and you think, oh, it'd be cool if they did that? Well, this show feels like, yeah, that's almost fan art is telling the future, because I've seen that a couple of times, where people do these cool things with fan art, and then, oh, yeah, it happens in the show. And that's definitely what I thought about Stefania. Yeah, we'd seen her, 3 times before she started fighting, and she even, hopped up on Lion and rode him into battle. I mean, that fight was just fantastic.
Yeah.
And, let's see. Is there anything else you want to talk about the first 3 episodes before we go into Bismuth?
I will say that that with the 3 episodes, this was, like you said, a great arc for both Amethyst and Connie. It also is great to see that we see more of Steven becoming kind of like a mentor in a way, despite as how young he is. It does make you wonder also with Connie, is this the start of seeing more humans joining alongside the Crystal Gems?
I think it's very likely. I'm curious to learn more about the Armor of the Fallen, and if that is going to be any kind of foreshadowing of any characters taking the fight in the future episodes.
Yeah. Yeah, the other major thing is it makes me... Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, and the other major thing is what?
The other major thing was, I'm wondering, if we do see other humans like join the fight against the Crystal Gems, it does make me wonder. Okay, aside from Connie, who really can fight?
Well, not many. Well, obviously, I think Sadie. She's already taken down a corrupt monster on her own with no training. And with a stick.
Oh, with a stick, that's right.
No training and a stick.
Yeah. It also, like, some people kind of theorized that possibly Ronaldo could be like an Oracle-type character for the Gems.
Yeah, well, now that he's kind of, like, pulled his head out of his butt, and, like, found the right theory, I assume in this world, there's plenty of information lying around in theories about gem culture that could help them out if he gets in the right direction and starts looking for them. Because at first he thought it was snake people, which is hilarious because that's actually a real stupid conspiracy theory in real life. I don't know if you've heard about this, but there's this theory. I don't know how popular it is, but like there are people who have theorized in the past that there are some alien snake people who are secretly in charge. And they've made fun of this on Adventure Time, and they made fun of it in that episode of Steven Universe. And it's ridiculous as it sounds.
Yeah, I'm always under the impression that Bill's behind everything. That's how I kind of live with it.
That's right. All right, let's get into Bismuth, which is the first full half-hour episode. Not a two-parter, but they aired it together, but an actual full-length episode. And Steven accidentally uncovers a bubble gem in Lion's Mane that is a bismuth, and it is a long-lost crystal gem. And Pearl and Garnet know her and are super excited to meet her. And how adorable was that reunion?
That was... oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I will say that with Bismuth's reunion, it felt really tearful because, yeah, this was one of the original Crystal Gems, and obviously very close with both Pearl and Garnet. And when you find out what happened to her, it's all the more heartbreaking.
It's awful. It's truly awful. And of course, Steven discovers why she was bubbled. And for those of you who haven't seen the episode, or maybe she came up with this ultimate weapon that will totally murder gems, not just put them in stasis like most of their other weapons. It kills them dead. And Rose apparently did not stand for that. She wanted to do it. They fought over it. And she poofed her and bubbled her and kept her for 5,000 years and told the others she was dead. Which is kind of shady, frankly. Because, look, I understand... This is what I think is interesting, is this episode, I think, is very important in... It now starts to educate Steven that his mother wasn't this perfect goddess, and she did things that maybe he would disagree with or not be proud of. Much like when you kind of grow up and you start learning about your parents and, realizing that they're not perfect either and they make mistakes. And of course, we dug right after that into like a reveal that we just saw yesterday on yesterday's episode, which we'll talk next week about.
Yeah.
And
right.
What's that?
Oh, I was just going to say, you are right about that. The other thing is that I think we're starting to see more of Rose, is that she did make, as a leader, she did make some tough calls, and it does say what Garnet, it does call back to what Garnet said about during that Lion episode with Pearl. Rose kept a lot of secrets, and this was probably one of them.
Yeah, I'd say that's a big one, yes. Yeah. And how... I can't remember the actress's name, but she's on Orange is the New Black, and oh my god, she is... Man, she is fantastic, and this one episode we see her, we get to see a lot of facets of that character, like how jovial she is, and her action side, and then that heartbreaking speech at the end, after Steven, stabs her in the fight. You bubbled me away and didn't tell anybody. It's like, oh man, that was just... That part actually kind of really gets to me. That was brutal. And what I love so much is you could, even though she's the antagonist of the episode, she is not what I would call a villain at all. And, you could even make an argument for her case. They are at war. And, this weapon could have been utilized. Although you also could have made the case that it could have made the war messier, frankly.
Yeah.
And
the major thing with why I think Rose didn't want to use the weapon is probably because what we find out what she did to one of the diamonds, and that probably made her go, I don't want to do that again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Can't use this weapon.
Yeah, this is totally off the table. And also another cool thing about this episode is we definitely see a lot of growth in Steven, because, when he first started the show, he's kind of like, a teenage sidekick kind of character with powers, almost like the Wonder Twins kind of scenario. In this episode, he makes a leadership decision. She presents this weapon to him, and he doesn't go, oh, okay, let me tell Garnet and ask if she's cool. No, she said, I'm not using it, and none of us are using it. And I'm just impressed with how much its characters has come from from episode 1.
Yeah, he's gone from Snarf to Superman.
Yeah, he has, or Captain America.
The big thing with this Bismuth episode is that we do also learn that the gem colony was built by Bismuths, and she was also the one who was behind a lot of the weapons.
Yeah.
It also makes me hope that we'll get to see more of those weapons she gave Garnet and Pearl. I know we get to see her new weapon used by Amethyst in a later episode, but I really want to see those brass knuckles and Trident used in battle.
God, yeah, I love the brass knuckles on her gauntlets. I'm not a big fan of tridents. I just think spears are just cooler and simpler. But God, those brass knuckles are awesome. I'd love to see her use those more. Oh, and man, let's see. I'm trying to think. We'll obviously see Bismuth again. I can't even predict when. Obviously not for the rest of the season. We'll probably see her pop up again in season 4.
Yeah. I would like to see... I don't think she needs a redemption arc, but I think she needs to be... I think she needs to understand more that this is how things are going to be done now, and if she can't get with the program, back in the bubble.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's so much a redemption that she needs. Because, in comparison to Peridot was full-on, evil and cold-blooded murderer. Yeah, she had a redemption. She had to have an arc where, she needed to learn that life was kind of, important. And, it has, made a big difference on her. And she has become a better person because of it. Yeah, Bismuth, I don't think needs that as much. I think we'll definitely see her again. Because here's the thing, she has 100% right to be as angry as she was. Rose did kind of give her a raw deal. She could have done it for all the right reasons, but Bismuth also had the right reasons to do what she was doing, which is why one of the reasons why I love this show so much is there's not one simple answer on either side of this.
Yeah, this is the most gray answer you're going to get.
Yeah. Yeah, in a show filled with bright gem colors, there's a lot of gray material, isn't there?
Yeah. I am curious, what you said about Bismuth is that, yeah, she could return, but it does make me wonder, what kind of role would she be in the show? She's obviously really powerful, but I would imagine she'd be something equivalent to, Raphael or something, if she returned.
That would be an interesting comparison. She definitely would need some time to kind of relate to, Steven, and maybe find some forgiveness in her heart in order to move on properly. But we'll definitely see. We'll also see what the gems will react if they bring her back.
Especially Lapis and Peridot.
Yeah, especially Lapis and Peridot, because they're not too, even though they were really close friends with her, they're not big on attempted murder of Steven. So that's usually a big no-no with them.
Plus, I'm pretty sure Bismuth is not aware that they were, she'll probably think they're still Homeworld gems.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how populated Homeworld is. I don't know if we will in the next couple episodes. I imagine that's what Season 4 is going to be doing.
Yeah. But this whole week was great. It felt like a great story arc for both Jasper, Amethyst, and Connie. And you could argue that, in a way, you could have put this Bismuth episode at the end of the episode because it feels like its own story, like its own one-shot.
It does, and it almost feels a little bit like, Bruce Timm did this kind of story a little bit a couple of times in some of his DC animated shows, where you're introduced to, like a hero character, and then there's something really dark about them, and then they kind of turn against the hero for whatever reason. I've seen that in Batman Beyond and Justice League a couple times. And, man, that fight between her and Steven is just... It was really intense, and, it just wasn't like a cool-looking fight. It was really emotional. You definitely felt, the anger and hurt from Bismuth. And poor Steven just trying to, first off, trying to get the thing straight in his head of what's going on and not get himself killed.
Yeah, you're right about that. The other thing with this fight was that, it's clear that Steven did not want to hurt her. Even when he threw a whole, stone dummy at her, he said, "Watch out."
I know. I mean, that was amazing. He's giving a warning at the same time he's throwing this thing at her. I don't even think Wonder Woman would do that.
Yeah.
God. That was just a really good fight. If I had to make a list of fights, that would definitely be really high up there. Hey, how much time we got, Linz? Okay. Hey, we should probably wrap it up in just a second. We're getting close to the end.
All right. I guess my final thought
Yeah.
would be this was an amazingly intense week of episodes, and yeah, I cannot wait to talk about next. I guess you could say this week's episode as of this recording.
Yeah. I mean, this week we've already. I imagine. Have you seen yesterday's episode?
Yes.
Okay, we've both seen yesterday's episode, and we're already amped. It's already started out with a bang. But holy crap!
It's the last episode of the season.
Yeah, maybe.
Of season 3.
Possibly, or I think the episode Bubbled, I think, is supposed to be the last. I'm not sure which, but man, this has been an awesome week. I'm really excited to see what they're doing next, and the show has just really jumped up as far as the storyline is concerned. And I'm really glad we had those string of episodes that were kind of more light and fun in Beach City. And every time they seem to do them, I get a little more hesitant, like, oh, what's coming?
Yeah, that make you feel good for a reason, people.
Yeah. If they do a cute episode about the pizzas, like, oh man, something awful's coming up, isn't it?
It's like giving you a lollipop before putting in the Novocaine.
That's right. All right, I think we're done here, and we're going to be heading off. We're going to be checking out the new episodes, the final week of Steven Universe episodes, and we'll be talking about those next week right here on Geekvolution. So until next time, I'm the Real Manos.
And I'm Deadpoolzilla, saying, push the button, Lindsay.